I'm Gary Cox, and I'm a Senior Technical Consultant at Bluefish Development Group. Today we're going to talk about an issue we ran into with upgrade with Alfresco going to 4.1.1 from a previous version, 4.0.x, basically, 4.01 or 4.02, doesn't matter which. And this one's going to be a little bit esoteric. It's kind of a strange problem. We've not seen it every time, but we've seen it a few times, and enough to where if you run into this issue, it's going to drive you crazy. So it's worth putting a video together and talk about what we saw. This relates to SOLR indexing, basically after an upgrade is complete. So what we ran into was we completed an upgrade, and this has happened a couple of times. This is not just a one-off. From 4.0.x to 4.1.1. It didn't matter if it was 4.1.1 or 4.1.1.3, which is the current latest release right now as this video is made. But once the upgrade was complete, everything looked good. Everything seemed to be running okay. But when SOLR tracking started, basically the Catalina.out log file started to fill up with 500 error coming back on get nodes. And that was strange. Even stranger was in the Alfresco log. Every time that happened, there was a matching log entry saying that database update couldn't be performed. The database is in read-only mode, and the action you're trying to perform wasn't allowed. So this is all very weird. And of course, when you first see read-only mode, you think, oh, a license issue, right? Repos in read-only mode because the license is bad or something's wrong with it. That wasn't the case. So it's very unusual when we were stuck. The usual suspects, right? Go back and make sure all the configuration is correct. Make sure the key tabs are right, make sure everything is good there. We did all those things and they were fine. No effect. We have another trick up our sleeve we used a couple times that have helped kicked off the tracking, and I recommend this to people that are troubleshooting SOLR. You can turn the multi-threaded tracking off, make it single-threaded. In some cases, that's actually helped resolve issues we've run into with tracking and help catch the SOLR index up. It didn't help in this case, but that's a good thing to have in your toolkit if you ever need to do that. So the actual solution was surprisingly simple and surprisingly non-obvious. We actually went in, and to make sure that the repository was not in read-only mode, we uploaded some pieces of content. And basically, in this case, it was just uploading a new version of an existing document. The act of uploading a piece of content into the repository actually kicked off the indexer, and the errors went away. So very weird. And I thought this was a one-off the first time it happened, but this has happened a couple of times. It doesn't happen every time. So at this point, we don't have the root cause, and that's something we'll investigate. Probably open a ticket with Alfresco and work it with them. But if you run into this, it'll make you crazy because it looks like there's a read-only error with the repository. It's not that at all. There's something getting hung up in the transaction and processing of SOLR and can't catch up. But the simple solution is basically upload some content. You can go into Alfresco Explorer, for example, or Share even, because Share is no longer directly dependent on the index to be operative, and upload some content or upload a new version of the content, and it should kick it off. And I'm going to, as a second part of this video, just quickly show the logs that we saw. So if you're in a situation, you can take a look. If yours looks like this, that may be it. There's plenty of other ways where things can get broken, where things aren't pointing correctly or your key tabs aren't right or filed, things like that. But this issue has kind of a very specific set of error messages. And so we're going to go over to the computer. We'll show a couple screenshots of the error files, both the Catalina.out and also the Alfresco.log. So hope that helps out there. If somebody runs into this issue, it's going to be one you scratch your head on, unless you've kind of gone down this path before. Okay, so now we're over at my desktop, and just wanted to demonstrate in the log files kind of what we see when the SOLR is in this bad state. You can see we're starting with a sort of a new instance of the index, so it's creating the index folders here and here for the workspace and the archive. But then every time the tracker runs, we get this error when get nodes is called. Tracking fails over and over again, and it just returns a 500 error. And this is the standard error log, and this is on a Windows box. It's probably Catalina.out on a Linux machine. So we see this in the log just over and over again.
And this is the, like I said, Catalina out or standard error out on Windows. In the Alfresco log, we get something like this, which basically says error updating database, connections read-only, queries leading to data modifications are not allowed. And this repeats over and over again as well in the alfresco.log. And sort of at a high level, it seems like it might be related to the repo being in read-only mode, but that's actually not the case. And again, once we kind of upload a new piece of content or update existing content, upload a new version, this goes away and tracking commences and it's able to catch up. And so this is just sort of a workaround at this point. Obviously, I mean, we'd like to see what the root cause is here after an upgrade. It's not every upgrade that has this, but there are several that have more than 4 or 5, I think, that have actually had this problem. So this is just something to look out for. And I wanted to show the actual errors because they're pretty specific. If you see this in the Alfresco log, and you see this over here in the Catalina.out and Tomcat logs, then you're going to actually, this is probably the problem that you're having. And again, either try to upload a piece of content or also do an update, new version of an existing content, and should kick off tracking again. You start seeing this in the SOLR admin page. You'll start seeing it catch up on transactions. And while we're in here, I also wanted to mention real quickly. We go into the SOLR config and talked a little bit about the multi-threaded tracking on and off, and I haven't really done this a lot in 4.1.1, but in 4.02 we found that in some cases if the SOLR index doesn't catch up in tracking or gets stuck or has a problem like that, that running in single-threaded mode seems to resolve that at times. And that's actually a real simple change. This is the property right here, and by default this multi-threaded tracking is enabled. And by setting this to false and restarting Alfresco, that'll come back up, and you should eventually see it catch up again. And this usually I think is in 4.0.x releases of Alfresco where we've done this. And don't want to leave it that way permanently because you're, again, multi-threaded is more efficient, but this can be a workaround if for some reason the SOLR won't catch up with its tracking. And that's it. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us for this video today. Hope it's helpful. Like I said, this is kind of an unusual and esoteric problem. You may never see this. And it may be that this is something that goes away in 4.1.2. But if you do run into this, I hope this video is helpful to you and will help you solve the issue with the SOLR transaction. And that's it for now. Look for our other videos, and thanks for watching.